is the blue news. Oh, yeah. Hey, y'all.
Hey, sis.
Hey.
Yes, we're still here. Now, out in West Virginia, y'all, them people got caught. And their crimes out in the open. One couple's sick act. Whew, that mess is simply outspoken. Y'all, Gene Whitefeather and Donald Lance are in the news. They locked these kids in sheds and all other kinds of child abuse. Those kids were black children abused by their own. They were used as tools, forced to live in a house of stone. How could they do this to the kids that they adopt? Now they're both locked away and this evil's been stopped. A jury found them guilty for all the hell they caused. That's 19 counts for Whitefeather, and justice never paused. Now there's racist texts cursing kids who are treating them even worse. They've been through so much where no love was dispersed. These children have suffered. They had to dig with their hands while Whitefeather and Lance just handed out demands. They ate peanut butter sandwiches. They were fed just enough. They had their childhood stolen. Those conditions were rough. Luke. The kids are free now, but the scars still remain. The trauma they suffered, all the hurt and the pain. This couple's conviction won't bring back what's lost, but the truth's been revealed and at a great cost. Racist, abusive, treating kids like slaves. Their actions caught on tape, and in the end, they paid. But let this be a lesson for all who ignore. Even through pain, love can restore. This is the blue news. Anything can happen in a day. Yes, it can. We'll talk about that again. Well, we'll do it again. Same place, same time. And we'll do it, this is Congress show way. This has been the saddest blue news. Oh, yeah.
All right, now I need all y'all to get up out your seat and get ready, because it's time for us to start the Cassandra Show!
And welcome to the Cassandra Show. Today, we're tackling some of the biggest and most controversial headlines shaking up the nation. From the deadliest air collision since 2001 to Trump blaming DEI for the crash, we're asking the tough questions today. Plus, major changes in immigration, civil rights, and federal policies. What do they really mean for everyday Americans? Well, we will break it down tonight because we have some breaking news. Joining us today is community advocate, Mr. Russell Drake. Mr. Drake. What an entrance. 2025. Thank you, sir. It's so good to see you. Please have a seat.
Honor.
That's right. We haven't seen you since last year. Welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank
Indeed. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
This has been a heck of a year. 2025 has started off worse,
January 30th.
more interesting than 2024 with Cat Williams. How about that? When I tell you. So today, unfortunately, yesterday, something really horrible happened. We're talking about highly trained airline and military pilots who were flying in controlled airspace, and there was a tragic crash, and 67 people lost their lives. So please tell us, how does something like this even happen? Do you think there's more to this than just human error?
I think it's all miscommunication along the way. Helicopter, it was clearly the helicopter's fault. The plane was landing I don't know what they saw. I try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I do think it's sad that people are trying to politicize the issue. The condolences go out to everybody affected,
Yes,
families,
first and foremost.
of the people on all those crafts, as well as their colleagues in the industry, because people are worried. I went to Howard University. I've flown into that airport hundreds of times, and I've never had to worry. And so it's like, wow. It's sad.
It makes you very concerned about flying, period, especially since so many things have happened that we'll talk about as we progress through our discussion.
Yeah.
But yesterday, American Airlines collided with a military plane. It was a Black Hawk. For those who may not know, we did post our condolences and prayers to the families and anyone that was impacted based on this tragic incident. So I just want to make sure we say first and foremost our condolences to any and everyone whose family was in that plane or in that helicopter. It was 67 people. And unfortunately, President Trump is blaming DEI. Now, Trump immediately pointed the finger at DEI, basically saying that diversity hiring could be to blame for the crash. Mr. Drake, do you think he actually believes that, or is this just another way to push an anti-DEI narrative?
I think it's a little of both. We know to expect the most shallow and ignorant and immature response on earth, and while none of us can comprehend such, he's absolutely incorrect. That's not the issue. The issue at hand is that there was some miscommunication, and people in the helicopter saw something and did not, or something malfunctioned is what I highly suspect, and led in a tragedy, and unfortunately not one survivor. That hurt me. I was hoping somebody would have survived.
When I tell you, just somebody, I want you all to take a moment and take a look at this video.
You are blaming Democrats and DEI policies and air traffic control and seemingly the member of the U.S. military who was flying that Black Hawk helicopter. Don't you think you're getting ahead of the investigation right now?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think with the names of the people, you mean the names of the people that are on the plane, you think that's going to make a difference?
Does it comfort their families?
They are a group of people that have lost their lives. If you want a list of the names, we can give you that. We'll be giving that very soon in coordination with American Airlines. We're in coordination very strongly, obviously, with the military. But I think that's not a very smart question. I'm surprised coming from you.
I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense. Okay.
So common sense is telling our current sitting president that DEI is the reason. I've seen a lot of reasons on social media that people could say this happened with him firing TSA, with him firing the director of, the FAA. I mean, he just went in and a lot of the aviation department, he got rid of people. He immediately got rid of them. So if you are saying that's falling under DEI, which I can't wait to talk to you about what DEI really is that common sense to say something like that?
No.
I have not heard him say once to give his condolences or have any compassion or empathy for anyone who died in that crash. The families, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's not it. We knew what to expect from his first term in office when a whole plague swept the nation and world, and another catastrophe. It's not surprising. It's sad. It's disappointing. He is who he is, and it's horrible.
And he's not even trying to make an adjustment. So, Mr. Drake, speaking of DEI, when people hear, the acronyms DEI or affirmative action, they immediately assume that it's Black Americans, that Black Americans are the biggest beneficiaries. But the real thing that the big mess around and find out, we can't say FAFO, the mess around and find out moment is here. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, y'all, the #1 recipients of DEI programs are white women, not Black people. After that, it's Latino and Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, Native Americans, individuals with disabilities, veterans, and the LGBT community. Now, let me tell you who comes in last. Black Americans come in last. And if that wasn't enough, a simple Google search will show you that white male CEOs are also profiting from the DEI program. They benefit. So more so than ever, white women and white CEO males are winning with DEI. So while people blame black folks for taking advantage of DEI, the reality is that we're actually benefiting the least amount.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head. Diversity, equity, and inclusion was really leveled was out there to give people the opportunity to earn business.
Yes.
People weren't getting the opportunity based on their appearance and or names. People would just look at the name and say, oh no, we're not going to give this person an interview or consider them. So everybody that has gotten opportunities has been qualified and just weren't getting the looks before. It even goes with Black History Month overall. Carter G. Woodson started it 99 years ago because he didn't see any books that reflected on the accomplishments of blacks and their contributions to society. When we know blacks have been contributing to society since before the United States was formed, as well as the world. Let's say that overall.
Well, I'll say if they leave it up to this administration, it'll be that way again because they are banning books. They're getting rid of all kind of things. But we're going to talk about more of this when we get back. Yes. Don't y'all go nowhere. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with Russell Drake for the culture. And welcome back to the Sisandra Show. I am your host, Sisandra, and I'm here with community advocate, Mr. Russell Drake. And we are talking about breaking news. There's a lot going on today. And as much as we love to have fun and laugh and sing and have a great time with you all, there are things going on in the world that we need to talk about with you. So we're going to talk about immigration policies under the new administration. Yes. Redefining birthright citizenship is a huge shift that could affect thousands of families. But let's be real. Do you think this is about immigration reform, or is it just another way to control who gets to be American in the future?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. It's trying to control people. 14th Amendment is very clear that people who are born in its nation are U.S. citizens. That's the 14th Amendment.
Yes.
It's ratified in the 1800s. Shortly after that is the 15th Amendment, right? So I think we have the executive orders don't trump a whole amendment. You have to
That's what I called a friend. I was like, can he do this?
Yeah. No, he can't. Although, I mean, you know, he can say, he tells people stuff. He's violated the law so many times. And it's a matter of who's going to raise up and stop him from doing it.
I mean, we are dealing with a felon.
A maniac. A maniac.
We are. So let's talk about this border security and law enforcement. So with state and local police being given more power to act like federal immigration officers, are we heading toward a police state mentality? And if so, how do we stop racial profiling from becoming even worse than it already is?
Yeah, we're in a dangerous situation because people are unregulated. And there are going to be a lot of casualties, people who are just caught in crossfire. And there have already been people who are unnecessarily pressed up and things of this sort. I think it's incumbent on people who are actually trained law enforcement officers to show some form of protection for the citizens overall. It's just a shame you have to protect your citizens from this made-up force who's come out, who may not have gone to any academy. They're just assigned to pick on people. So I think it's incumbent on them. It's incumbent on people to speak out against it and our legislators to assure your citizens are treated fairly.
And how do they do that without feeling like if they say or do something stepping outside of what this administration wants, that they're not going to feel the retaliation of?
Yeah, we can't. Those elected leaders are there for the people. They're not there to serve him. This is a democracy. Whether the person in the White House thinks so or not, this is still a democracy. This is a republic. We have
Definitely.
checks and balances.
We do. And no one is above the law.
Right.
So recognizing only two genders is another thing that he has talked about and has implemented in his executive orders. So by saying the government only recognizes male and female, it's erasing an entire group of people. They feel totally erased. But the other side argues that gender identity shouldn't be a government issue at all. Is this really about policy, or is it just another way to fuel culture wars?
It's definitely a way to fuel culture wars. To me, the problem is you're restricting liberties. Don't tell me that we're free until we display our freedoms. We exercise our First Amendment. If a person can be identified as whatever they want, how are you going to say, no, I'm not going to call you that? It's that person.
Right. You can call them that, but on federal documents, for instance, before I came on, I saw, I think it was a transgender, and they just received their passport back in the mail and opened it up and was just basically crying, just like they've got this big M here. I look like a woman, but I have an M now on my passport saying that I'm a man.
I think we have to get away from just fit like how I think and how you think. But it's like if we understand that we've got a large demographic of people who are identifying with different pronouns, then we have to respect that.
Yes, I
and
agree.
That's where the problem is. You're trying to squeeze people in a certain box to fit a certain form, a cookie cutter image. And if that's not for the person, that's not for the person. Again, either it's the land of the free or it ain't.
Is it? It may not. Where are we going?
Backwards.
It seems to be. So the DEI programs are being wiped out left and right. We talked about that. And LGBTQ plus protections are disappearing.
Yep.
Do you think we're going to see a ripple effect where private companies start following suit, or will corporate America push back against this trend?
You're going to see some of both. I think we're already seeing it.
We're seeing it, yes.
We're seeing some who are rolling back. I'm very disappointed to see Target rollbacks and DEI initiatives. Can't say I'm surprised at Walmart. But then, I'm glad to see Costco stepping up and saying that we're on board, we're supporting it.
Yes.
I do think there are some private companies who are going to keep it private, and they're not going to make their announcement to the public, and they may have some internal strife that they work out, but I think anybody that's really led a corporation knows the need for diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes.
And if you don't make people feel welcome, then you're not going to be productive.
Not at all. And people go where they feel welcomed. I see so many posts about boycotting and all of that going on.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk to you about this. I have heard, and I'm sure you have as well, Black History Month may be taken off the calendar. How is that going?
So if at the national level, I think the 47th president has said that he doesn't want to celebrate Black History Month. And it's horrible because it's been celebrated. It started literally in 1926.
Yes.
February 7th to be exact, as a week, Negro History Week. And then in the 70s, it got to be a month. And it's been celebrated by all these presidents before him.
Yes.
And because he wants to dominate and say, not just as Florida taking stances against DEI, he wants to be extra and steal it and say, the whole nation isn't going to celebrate diversity, equity, nor inclusion. But that's not the end of the story. See, because the group Carter G. Woodson started, ASALA is the group that defines the theme for Black History Month every year. They've already defined the theme. There are activities going on. He's not going to stop our history getting spread.
Correct.
Because our history is not just American history, it's world history.
Yes.
So we're going to continue to do it. We're going to have a great month of February. And it shouldn't just be celebrated during the month. It should be Black History Month every month. Because we're a part of the fabric of this nation and the world.
Yes. Yes, I agree with you. So federal workers, we have a change in federal workers. Elon Musk is now in charge of cutting government spending. I believe his department is called DOGE or something to that effect.
Yes.
It's easier to fire federal employees, it seems. Suddenly, it's very easy. With all these efficiency changes, are we actually making government better, or are we just gutting the people who keep it running?
Yeah, see,
I mean, because
it's so insulting to people who've been there for years. And see, you can't replace experience. Studies show that it takes 2 new hires to come close to the efficiency of 1 experienced person in a job. And they're pushing the experience out, and you don't teach experience. It's gained over time. It's gained
Correct.
over trial and error. It's gained over putting in real sweat and equity. And so many people are getting pushed out. And I actually think it's a scam where he's telling some people he will pay you for 9 months.
Yes.
If anybody
Somebody
believes
said,
that,
don't sign it. Don't do it. You think you're going to get the money, but you're not.
I don't.
2 million.
He already has
people.
a background of not paying people
Correct.
for doing work. So
Correct.
no way. He's going to turn and say, you know what? You're not doing any work. Never mind.
Correct.
Now
And
you're out
that's
of
what
a
someone
career.
was saying. If you sign that document later, they will just say, oh, well, that was your way of quitting. And now you're just fired. You get nothing.
Exactly.
You get absolutely nothing. So if you sign, if there's 2 million employees that they're trying to get to sign this document for a 7-month severance pay. 7 months. That ain't a lot of time, y'all. Let's move on to Medicaid. So, you know, they took back a lot of programs. They took away a lot of programs. Fortunately, they rescinded that order, but Medicaid access is tightening. Prescription drug cost protections are being rolled back. How many people do you think are going to feel this firsthand before they realize what's actually happening?
Yeah, there are going to be millions of our senior and wiser brothers and sisters across the nation who are going to feel the impact. Some of them right now are terrified.
Yes.
Because they need this medication to live. They need
Yes.
this medication to help them.
Yes.
And they just won't have access to it. And sadly, I think it's almost a way of reducing people. And it's a sad thing. It's a tragic thing. Can't say I expect anything different from this regime.
Ooh, reducing people by not giving them the medication. Unfortunately, I did see someone who was paying like maybe $70 for a medication. It went up to $500 and something a month. They couldn't take the medication. They couldn't afford it. They died. So it is definitely getting rid of people. I mean, it reminds me of the guy, Luigi Mangione. Is that his name?
Yes.
So healthcare, just being able to go to the doctor and being taken care of, that's stressful to not be able to go when you're sick. or when you go, it's going to be $10,000. You don't have any money in the first place. It's crazy.
Right.
This is the only country that I think doesn't have like universal health care.
Right.
Y'all listen, it's a lot to unravel. It's a lot to unpack. And I am very upset today because waking up to this with the plane running into the helicopter running into the plane. It's full of Russians coming from training. I'm just kind of like, what is going on? We don't need conspiracy theories, but I'm like, how can the highly trained military run directly into an airline? I don't know. And before we say anything, unlike our president, let's get some more information because we don't know and families are hurting. So with that being said, thank you so much, Mr. Drake. We appreciate you coming here. To all our viewers, God bless you. We'll be right back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. for The Culture.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all, check this out for me. Come on. Let's just scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen because we've got so much more exclusive information for y'all right here only on the Sandra Show. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be right back tomorrow only on the Sandra Show.